Welcome back to another Trade Alt bonus video. This is the second bonus video in the Trading Bot series, and this is a really important one. I hope people really pay attention to this video because I'm going to share a lot of pretty crucial information, and I think that this is going to be very beneficial and it's going to be able to help quite a few people. But I want to discuss how my bots handled the crash, right? Oh, the big crash that happened. I think it was May 19th, and just general updates, kind of like about what I have done since then and where I'm sitting today. So I think this is just kind of an update video for those of you who've been following along, or definitely for all of you in Discord. This is going to be kind of a pretty thorough update because I did promise you tonight that I was going to do this. I wanted to do it before I went to sleep. But without further ado, let's get to the video. So as usual, just a quick overview of the disclaimer. Nothing's financial advice. All the content, everything I share is for entertainment and educational purposes only. Please take a few moments to read this, obviously, and I would appreciate it. All right, so we're going to start over here in Discord just to kind of rehash what I said on May 19th, the day of the drop, and kind of go back from there. Obviously, I already covered this in my previous video. Well, it's now 2 videos ago, but it was on May 22nd. I was in vacation in Hawaii, but I wanted to give an update. I think 49 minutes into that video, I don't think a lot of people made it to that point, but 49 minutes into the video is when I started talking about trading bots. And I started to, I kind of went into pretty good detail. I think I spent a half an hour discussing kind of like what I did and why I did it. So this video is kind of a rehash and an update since it's been a pretty decent amount of time since that video. But if you're like, I definitely would go back to watch that though. I'll just say that, as I think I shared quite a bit of really good information. And you got to think back on the 22nd, where the market was, the uneasiness, like all of those emotional factors that people were dealing with. I think like that was a well-timed video to discuss that. But anyway, so I kind of will rehash some of the stuff that I talked about. There is a video coming out. I don't want to spoil it, but there's going to be a really good video coming out very soon. That's going to like really get into like what you can do for your trading bots if you run into this situation again. Like the video is really going to break down for you different options and different methods that you can do to kind of help. Again, like if your bots are underwater, whatever it is, it's going to kind of really go into detail to give you some options about what you can look at doing in case you run into this problem again. Which, I mean, if you're in the market long enough, you will at some point. You definitely like want to be aware of that. And but again, I'm going to start here. So on the 19th, and I'm basically looking right here at this paragraph. Okay, so like this isn't real. This is all in Discord. And for those of you like who aren't in Discord, if you're curious about what I'm doing more on a day-to-day basis versus like YouTube video to YouTube video, I am very active in Discord. I'm there every single day. So if you're curious about what I'm doing, you want to ask me a question. Obviously I was on vacation for 11 days and I just got back this week. So I was still in Discord every day, but I was not as active as I usually am, but I'm back at it. But definitely come join Discord, and, there's a lot of really good people in there who use trading bots, very knowledgeable. Definitely have a really awesome community. So if you're not a part of it yet, definitely come check us out. But anyway, so for the first time, and I'm kind of reading this, right? So for the first time in a year, I'm de-risking some bots. And this is on the 19th. This is literally the day of the crash. Or like when we had that really big flush down to 29,800, right? It was a very, very brutal move. So I'm de-risking some bots here. Only the ones that have closed profitable deals, though. I did not take any losses. So I'll make that very clear. I didn't like market sell deals to close, just to take losses to free up USD, which I know like some people may have done or they were considering doing. I didn't do any of that. And, and so still a lot of them are closing deals, but I'm going to do some repositioning mainly because I'll be traveling tomorrow. So again, the reason why I chose to de-risk, the major reason why, is because I wasn't going to be around. I was literally going to be on a flight all day, the next day traveling. And, obviously you guys travel any far distance, like, you don't really want to be thinking about other things. So that's the main reason why I chose to de-risk. And by de-risk, I mean I actually closed my bots down. The ones that closed profitable deals, I did not let them open another deal after that. And but anyway, a lot of the deals were closing. I wanted to do some repositioning because I wasn't going to be around. So with the current volatility, so at the time, right, I thought it was a really good idea because I weren't going to be around, and in case we lost the current supports. So, and what I meant by that is, Bitcoin had a phenomenal bounce. There was over a $10,000 bounce off of the lows, which obviously, like, that kind of volatility really helps bots tremendously, right? So we had that massive flush to the downside, but Bitcoin, in Bitcoin fashion, had over a $10,000 bounce off of the lows. And I think it was, over 35% to the upside or something like that. It was like a very nice response. But obviously, it's very reactionary response. And typically you're going to get retests, which is exactly what happened, which was another reason why I wanted to de-risk, why I wanted to shut some of my bots down, because I knew that the risks were pretty high, that we were going to revisit some lower levels. And the thing is, especially when you were looking at revisiting lower levels, right? And by lower levels, I'm talking like 30,000 to 32,000 on Bitcoin. When you have drastic moves, you have a lot of pain in the market, you have a lot of downside, right? And I guess I really should just go to the chart. That way I can kind of show you this, a little bit easier. So basically right here on this candle, this is May 19th. So you can see on my chart right there, May 19th. Obviously we got, a really big move to the upside. So if you measure just from the high to the low, so we had a $12,644 move off of the low. So literally from this high to the next day, top of the candle, 42.4% bounce off of the low, which obviously, let me make sure there we go. But like, that's a phenomenal bounce. But at the end of the day, like, a lot of deals were like, there were some deals that still didn't close for me. And like, I know quite a few other people. But going back to that, so I just wanted to show you kind of on the chart what I was talking about, right? Oh, and as far as support goes, we got this really nice move off of the low, right? Really, really strong reaction. But what happened after? We faded right back down, tested some lower levels, and then we bounced again. So what I was concerned about after seeing a flush, to the downside, obviously, like, I think the odds of Bitcoin just flushing straight down to 20K, 25K, something like that, very, very low. But again, is it possible, or was it possible at the time? Absolutely. Like, you do have to take that into consideration. At least I wanted to take that into consideration, right? So if I wasn't going to be around to manage my positions or manage my bots, I thought it was prudent to take some of the risk off, which is basically what I did. Okay. So, again, I was, there was a very nice reaction off of this flush here. And we've been consolidating ever since, but the risk of seeing further downside, it's there and it's possible. So again, if I'm not going to be around, I'm in vacation mode. I don't really want to be staring at the charts all day long like I typically am, or not be around to manage my bots. I really wanted to take some risk off because I thought it was a smart thing to do. So now going back to Discord, let me see here. So I was running, so I've been running heavier with the bots this year, and rightfully so, because it was very bullish, right? Like, you want to be exposed, like when the market is going up, 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 you really want to be exposed to that type of market because that's where you're going to make money, right? Like, I made a ton of money this year, and I was very happy with what they were able to do, even on this down move. So like, even on the down move, I was pretty happy with what the bots were able to do. But I think it's a good time to make a few temporary adjustments. So I'll talk a little bit about the adjustments here in a minute. But I basically left this paragraph with I'll reevaluate after I see some structure put in at these levels, or I see some strength in the market. So basically, I wanted to take some risk off. I shut bots down that had closed profitable deals. So I was running 54 bots at that time. And I got it all the way down to 32 bots, I believe. I think that was the low. Yeah, No, I'm sorry, 30 bots. That was the low that I ended up. So again, a significant amount of my trading bots were turned off, just so just to the market kind of settles, regains its footing, and you can do a bit of analysis to see is this a good time to put risk back on, essentially. Second paragraph. So this is where I ran into problems, and this is what I think it's really important for people who are concerned about, for people who are concerned about possible drops in the future. So I had a problem because I actually ran out of USDT in my Binance account, and it was because I wasn't properly balanced. So essentially, any of my bots that were paired in USDT actually ran into the insufficient funds notice. So when you get it's not able to place any more safety orders for you because there's no funds available, right? So my problem was, and this is honestly, to be 100% honest with you, it was more of just a laziness thing on my end, not making sure that my bots were properly allocated funds wise. So I had plenty of USD available, but I was trading more heavily in USDT. So I should have had more, instead of having more USD, right? Because on Binance US, I trade versus USD on there. But on the other exchange, I was trading USDT, and I had more risk allocated towards USDT, but I didn't shift my funds over to make sure that I was covered over there, if that makes sense. And certainly BUSD, I had some test bots running for quite a while, trading BUSD pairs, because on Binance there's no fees if you're using limit orders to trade anything that's BUSD pairs, which I know that you get a little fee sometimes. It's been explained several times in Discord, so if you're not sure why that happens, please come check it out. It's been answered dozens and dozens of times. But anyway, I needed to shift some of my USD into USDT so that the USDT paired bots could get back to work. So that was my problem that I ran into. So most of my bots that got stuck were USDT pairs because they ran out of funds, and they couldn't dollar cost average appropriately on that crazy move to the downside. So anyway, by the time, and all of this happened, by the way, so this was kind of the big, not like the big problem, but this flush down happened while I was asleep. So I couldn't even react to it anyway because I was asleep, right? So, and that's typically how it goes. But, so what I needed to do, and I did say that here, I was asleep during all of the fun, which is true. So I wasn't able to get the USD converted into USDT quick enough because the move had kind of completed its course while I was sleeping. And by the time I woke up and came to see, obviously how my portfolio was doing, how what the charts looked like, and then the bots were kind of third on the tier, right? So by the time I got to the bots, the majority of the move up from the bottom, I think when I woke up, if I remember, so we had got all the way down to 29,800 on Bitcoin. When I woke up, I think Bitcoin was back at 37K already. So a good chunk of that retracement had already taken place. So my bots ran out of, that were, again, my bots that were paired in USDT or Tether were, they missed out on the opportunity to catch the deeper, the real deep SOs, the safety orders, if that makes sense. So the ones that got stuck, I think all but one or all but two of the bots that were stuck, which I think I had 9 total bots that were 30 safety orders deep. 7 out of the 9 were USDT pairs. So I'm pretty confident, again, if my allocation had been better, it had been calculated appropriately, I think that I would have actually done, it would have been, the deals would have closed much quicker, is kind of what I'm saying. So, but that didn't happen. It happens, nothing I can do about it at this point. But that was definitely something that made me say, in the future, definitely need to make sure that this is, again, if you're trading different stable coins, so you're trading any, alt versus stable coins, and you're trading multiples, you just got to make sure that, you have enough capital that's split up between your stable coins. So USDT, USD, BUSD, whatever it is, to cover the bots that's running on, paired up against that stablecoin essentially. So hopefully I'm not confusing people too much. But so anyway, so there's some monitoring that I'll have to do with the USDT pairs to get them back on track, which I'll talk about here in a second. Overall, I was really happy with how the USDT pair bots did because they were funded just fine. They handled it, There was a few of them, obviously, that were deep in safety orders as expected on some kind of, massive, insane drop like that. And at the end of it, again, just wanted to give everybody an update on how my day went and what I was thinking about, because I know a lot of people were concerned. So again, de-risking, just to give you an idea, just to kind of like now that I've kind of talked about like my thought process on the 19th, when that happened, I woke up. This is what I saw. This is what I did. And I kind of want to dive a little bit more into the de-risking piece of it and what that actually means. So again, I didn't market sell anything. I didn't need, I didn't feel the need to close deals down just to free up funds or panic because I wasn't sure what was going to happen with the market, right? But I thought it was very prudent. I thought it was important to take some of the risk off. So meaning I was running 54 bots or 50, I was running 54 trading bots. I wanted to make sure that, if there was another flush to the downside, which possibly could have happened, that, again, I was going to be traveling. I did not want to keep the risk, that same level of risk that was held through that drop if I didn't need to do it, So it just doesn't make sense for me to keep that same level of risk out there when the market is that uncertain, right? And just to give some perspective on that drop. That drop will be talked about for quite a while. That wasn't a normal drop. Now, for anybody who's been in Bitcoin or who's been trading crypto for any, at least a few years, we have seen, the coronavirus crash, that was big time, but that was obviously there was a lot going on in the world. It wasn't just, it wasn't just limited to crypto. There were bigger problems across the board for everybody, right? But even prior to that, there have been some pretty severe Bitcoin drops in the past, but this one was very, it was brutal. It was brutal. So it's definitely, again, one of those that will definitely stick out to me. And I'll probably remember this for quite a long time, to be honest. But to put that into perspective, this wasn't something that I would expect to see again next week. Could it happen? Yeah, I mean, it could. If we lose that 30K support, we could see another flush to the downside. Absolutely. But as far as the severity of that, there was so much leverage in the market. And as far as the severity and the quickness of it, that's a very rare event. Just I'll just leave it at that. So that was on the 19th. Right. So I talked about de-risking, and that's really all that I did. So again, shut my bots down. The ones that closed profitable deals, I literally shut them off, and I think I've turned 2 or 3 bots on since the 19th. I've literally gone, I haven't added. So just to be clear, I haven't added much risk at all back on, because, I'll get into that in a little bit. So here's another one. So this was an update on the 24th, right? And so I'll tell you, the trading conditions for the trading conditions that occurred after the drop were incredible. So I was able, I think, by de-risking. So the thing is, I didn't leave, I'm not entirely sure what would have happened had I not de-risked. So just openly thinking about it right now, I'm not entirely sure what would have happened if I hadn't de-risked. Would those deals that would have started opening afterward, I'd have to look at individual charts, to be honest with you, but I'm not sure how they would have done. I think it would have done just fine, but I'm very happy de-risking the way that I did. But you can look here on the 24th. So I'm talking about this post right here. So this is 5 days after the big flush to the downside. And just going, again, you can look at the chart here. So this is on the 24th. So I'm posting on the 24th right here. So like we've literally just the volatility, which I will get into in a bit because I actually think this is pretty important. I think this is actually really important to talk about, as far as like recent price action. But you look at the swings, look at these massive swings. And again, right, so this was 42% to the upside. And then like if you measure this wick down to this low, another, 27% to the downside, you measure this wick to this high, like you get the point. When you're having these kinds of major swings up and down, it is like for trading bots, it's a phenomenal environment if you have like, and I know some people were stuck. So that's kind of the crappy part, right? That's the part that is a little rough. Because if you didn't have, like if you had some, if you didn't have very many bots and even like 4 or 5 of them got stuck, like that could have been like not as a great situation, obviously. But for me, again, de-risking freed up some funds, quite a bit of funds, and was the bots that were once kind of the USDT got shifted over like it should have. Those bots were able to get back to work, essentially close some deals, which I'm not even fully like. I still have 4 deals left, so I'll get into that in a second as well. But I just wanted to give an update here on the 24th. So posting early today, and this was early, so I don't even know. I think this was several hours before. I think this was several hours before the close was, so there still had some time to, I don't know what I actually closed at on this day, but alts, had a really nice day. There was a really nice bounce. I'm tempted, so I said I'm tempted to add more risk back on. I still have 23 bots turned off from when I de-risked on the 19th. But I still have some deals stuck from the drop. And I think at this point, I believe I had, I want to say 7. I don't remember. It was like 7 deals that were still stuck. So I was saying here, like I still have some deals that are stuck from the drop that haven't closed yet. So I want to address those before I add more risk on, right? And like, and I, obviously important levels shared in my technical analysis channel. So keep those in mind when you're managing your bots, as it could be helpful to manage risk a bit better. So like I literally give exact levels in my technical analysis room. That way it helps people kind of give, a better idea of when we're at resistance, when we're at support. So if you're considering, trying to help use that information to help manage your bots, that's one of those things that can be really, really helpful that you might not, if you're not proficient in trading or whatever it is, like just being able to see that. And, that information can definitely help you manage your bots quite a bit better. But, I mean, look at the profit, right? $844. And there was still quite a bit of time. Like you can see the active deals reserve is over 7,000 though. Like those, so that is literally my stuck orders. The ones that were 30 safety orders deep. So this is definitely like the responsible for the higher active deals reserve. But the profit, $845, killer day. Never going to complain about that. And there was a lot of days post, the 19th, after when you see that crazy wick to the downside, there was quite a few days that were great. Like the trading environment, the trading environment was really, really good. And like you can see this person below me, $312 profit. It was a really pretty decent environment, assuming your bots weren't stuck though. So like I know some people, if they were only running 6 bots, 12 bots, they definitely could have had some deals stuck depending on what you were trading. But so going into, like, I'll show you real quick right here. I'm going to actually go into 3 commas and show you the deals that are still stuck just so you can see like it happens, right? It definitely happens. So go over here to 3 commas. I do want to, well, I guess I'll do this at the end or not at the end, but I'll do this afterward. So I'm going to scroll down to the bottom. So you can see the deals that are still stuck from the drop on the 19th, right? Or like, and there's even some deals like that started. So these deals started before the drop. So they literally went through the entire drop. So that's why I'm still sitting on these. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4 deals left that are, ones that are kind of heavy bags that need to be dealt with. But I'll tell you, like, I'll just walk you through it really quickly. I'm not worried about it remotely. And like, here's the thing, you know, like, I've never done this before. I actually, so you see, I actually put in an extra safety order. So there's technically 31 safety orders here, and it wasn't a safety order. I actually looked at the chart and I added just a little bit of money. It's literally like what the 31st safety order would have been. I didn't put any like crazy amount of money or anything into it. And luckily for me, UTK here, this is when I'm actually like a little like, like this one might be stuck for a while, but it's a really small bot. Like this is literally, and I don't know, I can't believe I even have this like old, this is like really old settings, and I guess I never changed it. But you can see like the base order is $15. This is when I did like 15.25. It's not even 15 and 30 like it, like I would have liked it to be. But literally like this is really old and this is a really small amount. So I'm not worried about it at all. But still, for the first time, I actually added some safety orders in manually to try to like help DCA it a little bit. But again, it's like really small amounts. And like here's the honest truth. I'm trying really hard because I think, you know, like if I didn't have this community, I would have been out of these deals already. Like I would have, you know, looked at the chart and I would have put money into it, got out of the deals. But I really want to try to be as thorough as I can and as like honest as I can be with my trading bots because of all of the videos that I've done so far. I know a lot of people are using it, you know, a lot of like there's, I mean, obviously we have a very big community now, but it's really important to me to do things as appropriately as I can because I want to put myself in the situation of like, I don't want to say it's like in a demeaning way, but like the average user, right? Like I want to actually try to work through these problems. Like I don't have the means to just flush out these deals and get them resolved, right? Because not everybody is able to do that. So like that's why, and again, like I've mentioned this quite a few times, but the trading bots, as far as the priority goes on my list, is definitely not, it's not like very important. You know, as far as like the funds that I have allocated to this, these deals being stuck here, I mean, like, obviously, I care, of course I care, but it's very, like, it's not that big of a deal to me. Like, if my bots sit here for another 3 weeks, I literally won't care at all. But again, I wanted to put myself in the situation of most people and really try to work this through, like, and get out of this deal naturally, you know, if that makes sense, you know, like how like would somebody would actually try to go about it, because it's really important for me to have that understanding, I guess you could say. Like I really want to put myself through the paces to make sure that like I know how the bots really are going to handle like, you know, drops like this, and it's just important to me. But anyway, Iris, this is kind of one of those things. I've been running this bot, so I'll give you a little. So this is for those of you who are looking for trading pairs. I'm going to give you here's a little bit of free alpha for you, I guess you could say. Iris is one of the ones that I've been running for quite a while. All four of these, I would say UTK I haven't been running very long because that's been kind of a recent Binance listing. I've traded UTK manually for quite a long time, and this is one that I've done very well at trading. So this is the reason why that I even have a trading bot. But this is I'd say this is a pretty recent Binance listing. So, and again, I don't know why the hell I have this setting on here like that. I'm not sure, to be honest with you, but UTK, USDT, it's a pretty recent Binance listing. But anyway, Iris USDT. So Iris itself is one of those that I've noticed. It's one of those that have a tendency to get really deep in safety orders. It just does. It's very volatile. Both directions though. So like you'll get, like, I can't tell you how many times I've seen Iris get, you know, it'll get 15, 20 safety orders deep, sometimes 23 safety orders deep. It'll get down there. But you know, and it'll get stuck, and you know, it could be there for 2 weeks, 3 weeks. But it ends up going on this run and taking itself out, and it has this crazy run to the upside. It's very volatile. So this is something that's not abnormal to me. I've seen well, 30 safety orders is abnormal. That's abnormal. But as far as Iris being one of those, like, am I concerned about it digging itself out? No, not really. Like, I think Iris would be just fine. Loop ring, kind of the same. I would say it's kind of along the same lines. Obviously, like, this is pretty deep in safety orders right now. And you can see here, like, so that where it says max 30 plus 3, I already have waiting bids down here. And obviously, like, this is from me doing some technical analysis, looking at the chart, finding, really good support levels below that haven't been hit yet. Or like, really good support levels below that I'd be really interested in buying. But like, I literally have bids sitting here waiting just in case, again, we get another flush, or if, whatever the case might be. If for some reason Iris decides to take another dump down, I'll have bids waiting there to help this, be able to DCA out a little bit easier, I guess you could say. So for every one that's left, you can see I literally have bids waiting way down here in case they get filled, just to help them DCA out. And again, like, could I just come in and put money to essentially force these deals out? Yes, I could, but I don't want to do that, because I want to, like, actually try to, like, get used to solving these types of issues if they do come up, right? So loop ring, kind of the same thing. CTK is very much like Iris. CTK is one of those very, very volatile. Some days absolutely rips. Some days you get these, deeper into safety orders. Again, never 30, but you'll get into 20, low 20s safety orders, nothing out of the ordinary. And then, it turns back around and just rips right back up, and, not only, like, takes your safety orders out, but obviously it will give you a bunch of nice new deals after that. So CTK is kind of one that I've been trading for quite a while. And then obviously UTK, I already talked about. Not like a massive fan of UTK as far as, like, trading bots go. And, to be honest with you, this is probably one that I would cut once this deal's done. I don't know if I'll cut it, but this is one, because it's such a small amount anyway, but this is one that I haven't been overly impressed with. But definitely, like, these three, especially Iris and CTK, like, they're ones that I'm not super worried about. And, again, if these sit in deals, like, this has sat since the 11th, the 12th, the 14th, it's not going to bother me. So, like, it probably, it's kind of one of those things that you need to consider about if you have maybe a smaller account, or you're trading less pairs. Obviously, like, when you have a decent amount of your trading bots that are stuck in deals, you really need to, like, obviously, like, that's capital that's tied up, and you're not making money on that capital. So that becomes a bigger problem, right? But, like, if you're running, which is also, like, I still get this question today, is I have X amount of capital. Do you recommend that I run less bots with higher dollar amounts, higher base order, higher safety order? Or do you recommend more bots? And, like, my answer will almost always, and obviously do your own research, but my answer will almost always be, like, I prefer more trading bots. And the reason being, even if it's smaller amounts, the reason being, when you get stuck, like has happened, right? And I think I had 7 or 8 deals, whatever I said, that were stuck. Maybe it was 9. I don't know. Like, I definitely had more deals that were stuck. If you don't have, if the ones that end up getting stuck, become like a significant percentage of your trading bots that you have running, then you're going to run into problems, because then you have less trading bots actively working, making money every day, right? But for me, if I have 4 bots stuck and I have 28 others running, not a big deal at all. And on a normal basis, I have over 50 trading bots running. So, like, 4 of them not running is almost inconsequential. It's almost not even that noticeable, right? Obviously, I have the capital tied up, but if it's not really affecting the rest of my bots, it's not to me, it's not that big of a deal. And, like, I'm still making good money every day, regardless of these bots being stuck. But obviously, like, if you had 6 or 8 bots and you had bigger base order safety orders, you're probably not very happy. You're probably not doing very well right now. Because, again, if you have bigger base order, bigger safety orders, running less bots, it's almost always, in my opinion, a better idea to have smaller base order safety orders, but have more bots running again, just because you have more of the ability to keep more bots at play, closing deals for you every single day. And like, that's how you're going to make sure that you're, at least hopefully getting some return every single day. So that's, again, these are my deals. I kind of walked you through my thought process behind them, why I'm not that really concerned about them. And also like how I'm kind of dealing with these, which I haven't done before. I haven't talked about before because I haven't been in this situation. But obviously, like, you knew, like, the probability of turning, running into these situations is it's I'm gonna say it's very high, but it's very likely the longer that the longer that you're in crypto, the longer that you're running trading bots for certain, like, you're going to run into situations like this. I mean, let's just hope that it's not all the time, right? But, this definitely wanted to spend some time talking to you guys about like how I view this current situation and like what I'm doing about it. So I thought this was pretty important to go over. So to kind of bring things from here to current time right now, today, what I've been talking about, kind of like what's going on. So I'm going to go back to Discord. So actually I'm going to scroll up I'm going to go back to Discord and I'm going to find my profits for today. That way you can see. So, I mean, like, the nice thing is like some people are still doing pretty well. Finally reached the 1,000 mark. Like, that's pretty cool. Lost a fair amount of money during the big dip, but happy either way. $1,000, that, like, again, $1,000, really well done. Best day so far. Anyway, I'm trying to find, oh no, I think I passed it. Sorry about that. Here we go. So here's my update from, it says yesterday, but it's literally 1 a.m. here. So I forgot to post this earlier because I had a screenshot saved. But this was the slowest day. I'm talking about yesterday now, right? So this was the slowest day of 2021, like, literally, that I can remember at daily. And I'm kind of walking, like, I'm just giving people a snapshot of what happened, right? So at daily open, so right when the market resets, right, daily open, we instantly had that down move in Bitcoin, which drug the market with it. So again, Bitcoin had that move to the downside and it drug the market with it. A lot of altcoins, obviously, were brought down with it, at least the ones that I have. They never really recovered, right, to take themselves out of the deals that they had, jumped into right before that. So before the day finished. So I had $109 profit, and this is pretty low. So, like, obviously, again, you can see active deals. I'm running 32 bots. The active deals reserve 3176. And again, this is mostly due to those 4 deals that I'm still sitting on that I just discussed with you. But you can see my total profit here. Active deals 32. But the funny part is, like, just a couple hours after this daily close, I'm already past what I did, like what I made all of yesterday, right? So I'll get to that in a second. But again, what's happening, which I can kind of show you right now. I think if we go down to a lower time frame, I mean, maybe you'll be able to follow along with me a little bit. But you can ignore these lines for now, and I'm not going to actually do an analysis here. I was really kind of wanting to do a Bitcoin analysis tonight, but there's not really a whole ton to talk about. So anyway, you see this is the big flush down to sub 30,000, right? So this is literally the move that happened. And then look at the volatility. And by volatility, I mean, look at like how much deviation you have from the lows to the highs, right? And we come back down. So we go low, high, low, got a nice, decent bounce here. Another kind of flush to the downside, a big move up. I mean, percentage terms, like I went over earlier in the video, these are like really big moves. So with trading bots, this is a very, very good environment to be trading, right? So I will literally circle, like, this environment for bots is really good. Made a lot of money through here, for sure. But if you notice what's happening, so the longer that we move along in this range, right? So we're in a pretty tight range. I wouldn't say it's very tight range, but it's, definitely there's less volatility that there's been recently. So let's just say that. So we're not getting these same big kind of deviations, right? Like these big moves that we've seen here. So we're really starting to coil. If you look at price action, it's getting tighter and tighter and tighter. So there's less volatility. So on a day like yesterday, right, which is literally right here, like so like we open the new day, or literally right here at resistance. So I mean, if you're in Discord, you know that I was talking about 39,300. That's why it's marked here. Critical level. My $31,900 long that I had, I sold that at $39,012. So I'm pretty happy about that even still. But anyway, it's kind of sidetracked. But anyway, you can see like right here is when we opened our new day, and I'll circle it for you. I'll actually put an arrow. So this, my goodness, let me delete these other arrows real quick. So this is where we opened our new day yesterday, straight to the downside, right? So we're at really big resistance. Somebody named Elon Musk tweets, and that doesn't help, right? But like I swear, but like on a side note, I swear he knows where he's tweeting. So like if you go back and you look at the times that he's tweeting, we're either at really important support or at really important resistance. I swear to you, like he knows when his tweets are going to have the most impact. I swear. Anyway, getting back on track here. So your new day opens. Obviously, everybody's profitability resets to 0 because this is the new day. This is when 3 commas resets. And what happens? So you get your flush down, and we literally spent the rest of the day just kind of, so we get our flush, your bot, at least my bots were sitting in kind of deals. I had a few of them close, obviously, so made it, $109 or whatever, but really just incredibly low volatility once this move was over, like once this move finished to the downside. So as far as trading bots go, it wasn't a good day at all. Just because a lot of the deals that opened, right here, kind of in the beginning of the day, they just sat there all day. And like I was kind of looking at I was looking at my 3 commas, and there just wasn't a lot of movement at all day long. It was pretty crazy, but it was a really low volatility day. Didn't make that much money. Again, this is pretty poor. I mean, it's $100. It's $100, right? But as far as like, what I showed you earlier, $850, and kind of like my expectations about what I'm able to get on a regular basis, this was a really, really low volume day. So still holding the same 4 deals from the drop, which is why active reserves are high. I'm going to give an update on my bots tonight. So this is the purpose for the video, right? I had said I'm going to do an update, and I kind of wanted to go into bigger detail about some of essentially my thoughts. And this is kind of like me rambling on about kind of what happened and what I've done. But I think I hope that this is value added to you. Just to kind of see how I handled my bots in a situation like that, because I'm actually, like I said, I'm actually pretty happy with how, like, what they've done. I'm actually very impressed with how, like, they've, but again, if I didn't de-risk, I can't say with certainty that I would be sitting here with the same outcome. I feel like I would have been okay. But I might have had more deals stuck. I don't know, but I'm pretty happy with how things went. So, so that is talking about yesterday. Then now going into today, just scroll back up here. So you can see I'm already on $165. I think we are 7 hours past daily close at this point. So, I mean, there's still a lot of day left, but already looking much better. My active deals reserve is much lower, which is good. Again, I'm not worried about it, but still, this is like stuff that you should be concerning yourself with when you're running your trading bots, right? Like you want to be aware of this for sure. So again, $165 profit so far today in 7 hours. I'm at, $78,511. Pretty good. I'm like really waiting. Like to be honest with you, like here's like what I'm considering doing is I kind of like would like this account to get to 100K in profit. And then what I'm probably going to do, what I'm considering doing is actually getting a new account and starting over with a fresh balance, a fresh, like having a set balance coming in that doesn't get adjusted, and really try to, essentially start over and try to build the account again. And I'll tell you, like from, when I did video 1, I literally was doing video 1 to share my experience because I thought it was cool. I started I had a new YouTube channel, wanted to create some content, And I thought that was like an interesting thing to talk about. I never expected it to turn into this. I've said that before, but I never expected it to turn into what it's turned into, which I'm like eternally grateful for. I'm very thankful for, you know, obviously my community. I've met a lot of phenomenal people that I get to interact with every day. All of you guys on YouTube, amazing. Like, I'm very appreciative of everybody watching this stuff. It's really fun for me to be able to interact with people. And, you know, again, like, it kind of gives me something to do every day, which is pretty neat. But yeah, I mean, I think it would be a good idea to probably push the reset button, because I wasn't planning. Like, I had already done my trading bots. I was already at $30,000 profit at that point. And I've made like quite a few changes before I started the video. And I mean, before I started video one, and obviously since then, like, I've made quite a few changes. And I would really, you know, as far as like capital and fusions and stuff like that. So I think it would be like a really good exercise for me to kind of push the reset button. And that's something that I've been thinking about. But I'd like to hit 100K first, just to get that done and over with. And then, you know, I think, you know, I mean, you can let me know in the comments what you think. But I think that would be, I've been incredibly, like, that's one thing that I pride myself on. I've been incredibly transparent to the community. Like, I talk, again, I'm available in Discord. I talk to people all the time. I answer questions. I've been like really transparent throughout this whole process. But I think that would take that to a new level, right? Like, I'd actually like to start over having the audience that I have already, and like, then we can do it together, essentially. I think that'd be a lot of fun. But so anyway, as far as this video goes, that's kind of what I wanted to talk about. I talked about kind of what happened on you know, I talked about what happened over, and I guess I should pull it up one more time just to kind of go back to this, just so you guys can read it again in case you missed it right here. But anyway, like, I went from the 19th on the drop, talked about de-risking, talked about what I did. Obviously, like, I could get into like tremendously more detailed information, but I think that's kind of not, I don't really want to do that in this video, because there's another video that's very likely coming out very soon that I think is going to, you know, again, going to be a very good one, very impactful, very beneficial video to actually like go into detail about how you do these things, I guess you could say. But and I kind of went from the drop on the 19th all the way up until today, kind of talking again. I'm still holding 4 deals from, you know, pre-drop. So I'm with a lot of, you know, I'm right there with you, a lot of other people who are still have some deals stuck. Totally, completely normal. Am I panicking? Am I concerned about it? Not even remotely. Not worried about it. But at the same time, like, I'm very well capitalized, and I'm able, you know, like, I'm not concerned about it. Let's put it that way. Like, I'm fine letting it sit there. And like you can see, I went in and, you know, I have some safety orders that's set much lower. That if they fill, they fill, and I'm happy to let them fill. Happy to let the deal close as it's going to close. Not that worried about it. But I hope that you found this video useful. Again, started from the very beginning of the 19th all the way up to current times. Kind of I even talked you through some recent price action, kind of what I'm expecting. I guess that's one thing that I could touch on real quick. So why have I not added risk back on yet? So I guess that's actually a really good question. So I haven't added risk back on yet simply because, like, I want to see the market prove to me that, you know, I want to see the market prove to me a bit more that we're likely to at least spend some more time going sideways. I guess you could say we have yet to really reclaim an important resistance. Like, we've yet to push a bit higher. That's gonna kind of give me, I guess you could say, a little bit more confidence that we're gonna stick around at these levels. That's kind of and I know that might kind of go over some people's heads, but it's really like, I haven't seen what I've wanted to see yet to make me feel super confident in adding a bunch of risk back on. And again, so like, could I add more risk back on? And, you know, could I add more risk back on? And, you know, again, like, if my bots get underwater, am I going to lose a bunch of sleep on it? No, but that's not the point, because like I already said this earlier, I'm really trying to manage my trading bot portfolio the best that I can, the most responsible that I can, I guess you could say, because I think it's really important to, I think it's really important to do that. It's been in the position that I'm in right now, and to be respectful to my community, and to try to like be as helpful as I possibly can. Like I want to make sure that I do it essentially as by the book as I can, right? So like the things that I talk about in my previous videos, the way that I run my trading bots, I really want to run them appropriately, just because like I want to put myself through the paces, kind of like I talked about earlier. I remember now what I wanted to talk about that I haven't talked about yet. So the last thing that I'm going to discuss, which again, if you've made, I have no idea like how long I'm into this video right now, but I feel like it's been quite a while. But if you're around for this, I hope that you really listen to me. So like, I mean, not that you listen to me, but I hope that you take into heart what I have to say. I feel like I still now see a lot of people who are new to crypto, especially crypto. Like I just see a lot of new people in general that are interested in trading bots and wanting to kind of throw themselves out there, which is awesome. It's great to see. Like it's really good to see. But I want to really reiterate how important it is to be cautious where we are sitting in the market right now. It is very important to me to get across, like as far as the risk that you expose yourself to and the type of market that we're in right now, here and now. I really strongly urge you to consider keeping your risk exposure low. And what I mean by that is like, especially if you're brand new and you've watched all my videos, hopefully, the video where I talk about like being fully covered and then not be, and I talk about the more aggressive settings and you start running, like to where essentially you're not fully covered. I would very strongly urge you to stay fully covered and get used to the market first before, it's kind of one of those things like the market's going to be here tomorrow. It's going to be here next month. It's going to be here next year. There's no need to try to come in, especially if you don't have a ton of experience. There's no need to come in and try to hit a massive home run off the bat. And like, I'll tell you, especially like when we get into post your profits, like that room, and you see a lot of people posting like multi-$1,000 profits per day. Even I'm in there if I have like that $800 day, $1,000 day, $500 day. Like I feel like that kind of sets, like I feel like I don't want that to be like, oh my goodness, like I'm gonna like I need to hit a home run that way because like there's money to be made. Like I want to stress is the most important thing is yourself and making sure that you are fully aware of your risk tolerance, you're fully aware of your financial situation, you're fully aware of the risk that's associated with getting into to trading at all, right? And the trading bots is still very much trading. Like it's still, like you still have to be aware of the risk, when you step into any market, especially crypto. But where I'm going with this is I also saw quite a few people discussing leverage, and I feel like I did a disservice. So like there was a video a while ago where like I did the leverage trading. I think it was video number 8 where I talked about short bots and I talked about leverage trading. I think it was video 8. But if you notice, I didn't get into like super detail about leverage bots. I have been running leverage bots for quite a while, and like a lot of the community has been aware that I've been running leverage bots. But if you notice, like every time somebody asks me a question about leverage, like how's your bot, like what's your bot doing, what's your current settings, I almost always don't answer that. And I don't talk about it. And the reason is because leverage trading, like, and especially like when you're running leverage bots, it is not remotely passive at all. Like I probably make changes to my leverage bots. I'd say just about every day. I will tweak settings just about every day. There's some days where I will tweak them multiple times in a day. So I'll give you an instance. So like my Ethereum bot that I was running, on the run up where Ethereum was just absolutely ripping, and like there was a lot of volatility on Ethereum up and down. Like it was filling orders, it was closing orders, and I was like making a very decent amount of money. with that trading bot, you know, considering the amount of capital that's allocated, like it was a decent amount of money for that for sure. But, you know, so I was adjusting the base order size, safety order size. I was adjusting the leverage. I was adjusting a lot of like, you know, basically those settings. I was adjusting those very frequently to kind of like match current market conditions, right? Because that's, you know, it's kind of one of those things that like if I'm sitting in front of the charts, I'm able to do it. Like I was really, you know, like taking advantage of those movements. But I feel like you know, again, so I haven't talked about that. I haven't made like a dedicated leverage bot trading video. I haven't been responding to people who've been asking me about my leverage bot settings, simply because the amount of risk that's associated with that is incredibly high. It's not a passive bot. It's not running along the theme that I've kind of presented over the entire course of all the other trading bot videos that I've done. It's very much different, and I would not really advise somebody to run leverage bots unless you are incredibly like well versed in trading. That is very dangerous, right? So like unfortunately, I saw some people that were running some leverage bots, and I don't think that they did very well in this drop. And this, you know, one of the things that I didn't do, you know, honestly, looking back, I wish, like, I probably shouldn't have done it, but I was, you know, I think I was on a live stream, and I was on my 3 commas platform, and I was explaining, like, you know, I don't know what I was talking about, but I remember I was on my 3 commas platform, and I had scrolled to the point where my bot settings were for my Ethereum leverage, my bot. And I had said, oh, by the way, well, I think we were like an hour and 45 minutes into the video. I'd said, by the way, there's my leverage bot. Like, for those of you who've been asking, that's my settings. And I feel like looking back, I wish I hadn't done that, because again, like I haven't done an advanced, like, you know, dedicated video like I've wanted to do. I think hopefully my screen didn't just go black there. I've literally been sitting here talking, but I haven't done like a dedicated leverage bot video like that I wanted to do. So I had said many times, you know, not many, but a few times, that I'm testing my bot and I have settings, you know, I'm testing my settings, and I'm going to give an update when I feel good about testing those settings, right? But that point never came yet. And unfortunately, for people who kind of took the reins, right, I don't think people did very well on that drop. And I think some people got liquidated, or like the you know, the capital that they had allocated to that bot probably got liquidated. And so for those of you who got liquidated or didn't get liquidated, or you're running leverage bots now, like I'll give you a little bit of insight into how I run my trading bots. And the thing is, this is something, so like I give these updates all the time in my TA chat, right? So like literally in my TA chat, which is right here, just jump to present. Like you can see, like I literally give, this ended up working out pretty well. But anyway, like I give updates on support resistances. You know, I do all kinds of technical analysis in here. By the way, this was my long position. Pretty happy about that. But that's the one that I closed at 39,000. But anyway, you know, I do a lot of analysis in here. So I as a trader, like I feel very comfortable. I feel very comfortable trading leverage, essentially, right? But I know like my risk tolerance. I know my, you know, like I feel confident when I'm updating my leverage bots. Like I said, I update them daily, sometimes multiple times a day, depending on market conditions, right? But I'll just go back to this just to give you an example. I know this video is like kind of dragging on, but hopefully this is beneficial, or will like set in kind of, you know, like, you know, if I can just like help one person make better decisions in the future, I've done my job. And it's honestly 2:00 in the morning here, but like I'll feel good about, you know, if only one person sees this and is able to get something out of it, it's incredibly worth it to me. But anyway, the market is literally telling you, right? The market is literally telling you that it's weakening. You get your close. Again, I don't want to go into like the full detail, but like there was a lot of signals here that are telling you that there's like things are changing a bit. things, you know, as far as us looking for new all-time highs, pushing out, like the signs were there saying, like it's time to be a little bit more careful about kind of where we're at, right? And so if you're running a leverage bot, and this is kind of more of a question, I guess I would pose, right? If you're running a leverage bot and you see that there's signs of weakness overall in the market, like there's signs of weakness, would you or would you not change your settings? So that's something to think about, right? So I can't tell you how many times I changed my settings. I have no idea. But at the end of the day, like when you start seeing weakness, the leverage goes down. And like, so for those of you who are trading leverage, I will walk you through a little bit. So like when, like, you know, obviously like if there's weakness in the market, the leverage goes down, the base order, safety order size, probably like you start like conserving your capital a little bit more with, you know, again, the spot. So the bots, my trading bots that are trading, you know, altcoins. So spot altcoins, no leverage, just literally spot altcoins. I could care less what happens to them. If they go down, you know, 30 safety orders, okay, they go to safety, like 30 safety orders. And, you know, like it doesn't, you know, I'm okay with that happening. But leverage is so, if it's not used appropriately, like you can really hurt yourself if you're not careful, you know, managing that. So like if I see that there's any signs of potential weakness or potential strength, right, I'm going to adjust my bot accordingly to kind of like go with what I think is going to happen. If that makes not you don't even need to forecast. Like I didn't, like I'm telling you, I made a video about this. I didn't forecast this $30,000 dump. Did I think it was possible for us to come down and revisit, you know, mid to high 30K? Yeah, like I thought it was possible. But did I see like that this would happen? Hell no. And like anybody who tells you did, they're full of it. Like you're like this like I did not foresee us hitting below $30,000 literally when it happened. I didn't. I'm perfectly okay admitting that. But when you start to see this type of price action forming, it tells you to be careful. So like for me, did I make any adjustments to my spot trading bots? No, I don't care. Like they're going to do what they're going to do. I literally have them set up literally, you know, to be as passive as possible. Whatever happens, happens. And I'm fine with that. Like the risks are defined as far as I'm concerned with the spot trading bots. But leverage trading bots, again, if there is a limit to the amount of risk. There's a limit to what your bots could be exposed to depending on how leveraged you are, right? There is a limit to how much risk you can take on. Because if you take on too much risk, you get liquidated. If you get liquidated, you lose your funds that you had, you know, set aside for that. So that's obviously something that there is no chance for you to just wait for the bounce to come back. Like your funds are literally gone. It's a whole different ballgame. Which again, like I think I should probably do a leverage video. I'm not sure when I'm gonna do that, like to be honest with you, because of like I see so much, like I see a lot of like I don't know if that's like a really good topic, to be honest with you, to cover. But I very likely will at some point. But I think like I mean there's gonna be like 100 disclaimers on there. Like really, you gotta be really careful. Is kind of my point. But anyway, so that's kind of like what I wanted to discuss about the leverage aspect of it. I thought it was incredibly crucial. I was talking to the admins. I've done a couple streams with the admins over recent days, and that's one thing that like I wanted to like that we were discussing, and I want to hammer home with my audience is that you got to be really respectful of your funds. And like rule number one is protect your capital, right? It's not even about making money. I mean, it is. That's why we're here. But like literally you have to do everything you can to protect your capital. And I feel like that's especially true when you're, you know, the leveraged game. You can win a lot and you can lose a lot. It's very simple, you know. Like I'll give you an example. So somebody in Discord, and like I don't want to feel like I'm pointing them out or anything, but somebody in Discord DM'd me and was wondering why they got liquidated. It turns out they were using 50x leverage, and like that is beyond like that's so like that's insane. That's insanity. I would never run a bot on 50x leverage unless I was just like literally expecting like going to the casino and wanting to, you know, like that's literally just throwing your money on the craps table and hoping for the best. Like that's literally what that is. And I would never ever tell anybody to do that. But even from a leverage standpoint, I was using all the way up to 5x. So like I will fluctuate between literally, you know, I will fluctuate between no leverage all the way up to 5x. And 5x for me, as far as a trading bot goes, that's an absolute max that I'll use. I won't push it any higher, just because like your liquidation price becomes too close. And especially when we're in the type of market that we're in right now, like you use anything over, I mean, 5x is a lot too. Like I want to stress that is a lot of leverage, but if you're using anything above that, you're asking for it. So like I will literally use anything like from no leverage to 5x leverage. That's it. 1, 2, 3. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Literally, like I will use, like I will just trade spot Ethereum, spot Bitcoin, or if I jump into the leverage game, it's literally like it's up to 5x, anything in between. And it really depends on the day-to-day market feel. Like, and I'm actively managing my bot. It's so much different than the traditional trading bots that I've talked about the entire series. I want to make that very clear. So anyway, my goodness, I'm scared to see how long this video ends up being. But for those of you who stuck around, I hope that my ramblings kind of helps you out a little bit. If there's anything that you took away from this, please let me know in the comments, or let me know in Discord if this was hopeful or helpful. I really hope it was. It's 2 a.m. I still have to edit this thing and upload it. It's going to take a while, so I should probably sign off here. But anyway, I hope that you found this useful. Trade safe out there. We'll see you on the next one.